Today I talk about tailors and being a craftsman for your life. Welcome to episode number 12 now, of the Ian Luebbers journey. And I just got back from a really cool event. I was invited by a friend of mine to this guys' night sort of thing. And there was a tailor there. And this is a tailor who is at the top of the game. Essentially, he makes suits for governors, businessmen, the most accomplished people that you can imagine that need suits. And he gave this whole presentation about why suits matter and what goes into the crafting of suits, all the way down to thread count, why you actually don't want the highest thread count in a suit, because it typically means that it's softer and finer and it's more likely actually to tear or to snag. And you don't want a suit that's really susceptible to tearing. So for most uses, you want something that has a high enough thread count, but not too high. And all of these different distinctions. He talked about the suits that are more like, if you've seen the movie Kingsmen, sort of this British style, and what suits are reminiscent of the Great Gatsby and what suits you'd wear to certain parties. And he stressed a couple really interesting things. And I'll explain how this relates to how I interpreted this, because I don't need a suit like this just yet, although someday I will. But I took a more direct point, and I'll explain it in a minute. So he talked about constantly the importance of being involved in the process, how crafting a luxury suit was sort of an emotional journey. It takes an understanding of who you are and what your goals are and what the end use of the product is in order to be able to craft something that is completely in line with what you want. And he talked about how, for example, he was competing really against these big brand name suit makers that will charge you a lot of money and you don't even get to be involved in the process. So he stressed the relationship, and it was all about craftsmanship, the way I saw it. All of the different fabrics, he had the exclusive fabrics, all of the care that went into making these suits, the tiny little details that if you got wrong, somebody, typically the most important person in the room, the person that you want to impress, would be the one to notice. If your shoulders were uneven, etc. And here's how I interpreted this and applied it to my own life. And certainly one day I'll need a suit, and he's probably the guy I'll go to after that presentation. But today, I view it as a lesson in craftsmanship, in the importance of viewing your life with care and asking the sort of analogous questions to what is the thread count? What are my shoulder pads even? Do I have any natural irregularities that I have to account for? Who is my target audience? This level of care and exquisite detail is something that is really a choice. The type of person who buys this suit is somebody who's ready to have that level of choice and control over their first impression. And certainly that's important in an area. But what it really reminded me of this mindset of craftsmanship and of care, of exquisite attention paid to the finer details of your life. And approaching your life and the structure of it and how you spend your time, the friends that you choose to spend most of your time with, the activities that you choose to spend time on, if you're in business, the industries that you choose to enter into, choosing it with the care and deliberateness of a craftsman tailoring a fine suit, with all of the luxury and also the precision and that artisanal attention and care. That's the core lesson that I'm taking away from this. When you approach your life with the mindset of a craftsman, as if you were tailoring a fine suit, as if you were creating a fine piece of art, you ask a different set of questions. A set of questions that, in my experience, are far more helpful to designing a life that you love.